Hello and welcome to Sutro Sidetalk, episode 179. Our forced, our
Boy,
forced Borf, our Borf episode of 2023. I turned into Bond from Spy Family. Like he Borfs a lot. I think
dude,
that's
I
what
love
happened.
that. Like I love I'm pretty sure it's just like a dude saying borf.
Yeah, no, it pretty much is. And that one line, he borfed at the wrong guy.
Uh,
It's so good. Yeah, this is Sutro Side Talk. We talk what we watch, what we play, and then select news here and there depending on what's going on. Today, no news, but we are actually a little bit. There's a lot of topics that are starting to stack up now of what to cover. Not too bad because it's that weird holiday season where, oh, thank God, there's no more TV shows, which is actually what's been probably occupying most of our episodes in the last like 6 months, I want to say, especially Disney themed ones, because they won't stop shoving it down your throat. But more, I guess recently we're getting a couple of movies in. We're starting to get games in again, finally, which, this is games and movies and shows, not just movies and shows and whatnot. And a bunch of animes are finishing up, so there's a bunch of stuff kind of happening that's not TV show oriented, which is really interesting. Unless I guess you. Oh wait, Witcher Origins. I forgot about that, but we'll see if we even talk about that one or not. I forgot it even came out. To be honest, I think it came out on Christmas. Now I think about it.
Wait, is there a new Witcher thing that I missed?
Yeah, the Witcher Blood Origin show. It's just be like it's like a 4 episode
I totally
origin
missed that.
of the it's like an origin of the what's it called? Um what is something of the spheres, the
Oh, the conjunction,
yeah, the conjunction of
I
spheres,
think.
and also it's the conjunction of spheres and the origin of the Witcher, like the origin of the ritual that creates the Witcher. Um, but I heard it wasn't good.
Damn, that sucks because I
Either
liked the
I either
Vizimir
haven't heard
show or
anything at
movie.
all. I haven't heard anything at all, or I just heard not really much. I think the minute we heard like Henry Cavill's leaving, and it's like, oh, is it because he's gonna be Superman? Not really. It's because like it just doesn't think it's up to snuff with the Witcher content it's supposed to be copying, especially after we
Yeah,
heard like, oh hey, a lot of the writers actually don't like the Witcher works, so they don't really care about it, and it's just like, oh, this show's gonna get canceled at a certain point. The viewership's gonna drop the minute Henry Cavill leaves. Like, I guarantee you, everyone's gonna watch season 3, and then season 2 already was not that. It was okay. Season 1 was good. Season 2 was okay. Season 3, I'm just watching it for Cavill, and then season 4 with Liam Hemsworth coming in. I don't really know if I care enough to watch that, but
yeah,
we'll.
it's so unfortunate. Like he's a decent actor. It's just like, how do you replace
How do you replace
Geralt with
Henry
not Geralt?
Cavill? Yeah, really. Like Henry Cavill is Geralt at
Yeah.
this point, and now he's president of Warhammer. But
And I'll admit, I was one of the people that when they first showed off the casting, they first showed off his photo. I was like, I don't know, he doesn't look like Geralt to me. And then I watched the show and I was like, oh no, shit, that's just Geralt.
fuck, yeah, so
Yeah.
good. The best line in the show for sure.
uh,
Uh, this week though, we were originally going to talk the Callisto Protocol, and then I got peppered with nonstop multiplayer games by people going, "Hey, Hunt event is still happening. Let's play some Hunt." Or, guys, we started a Valheim server, and I'm like, "What the fuck is
mhm.
Valheim?" And they're like, "It's like Vikings with Minecraft." And I'm like, "Why would I want to do that?" And they're like, "Just come and play." I get gifted a Steam uh copy of it, so I'm like, "Fine." And I start playing. I'm just kind of like, yeah, this is okay, whatever. The first day, and then the second day, I build my own house. And I'm like, guys, I have my own house. Look, it's the Baja Palace. I named myself like some people were doing straight up just like their name with like a Scandinavian thing. So like Gar at the end, like, oh, it's Chris Gar or something like that. Everything that sounds like it's either from Norway or I guess Skyrim, which is basically still Norway. And
Yeah.
I just made my name was just Big Baja after Baja Blast. So it was, yeah, it was a good time. And I literally made all my signs over every single thing in my little mini house, and I put like, it's the Baja bed, the Baja chest, the Baja workbench. It was a good time. But we're still working on it. I got my troll hide armor. It's pretty cool. Instead though, since we're not talking about Callisto Protocol yet, which I plan on doing, like, I want to try to get 1 to 2 hours a night in so I can get it done before I try to touch other stuff.
It shouldn't take too long. It took me like 8 hours,
Yeah, Brandon said he beat
maybe
it
10.
like in that time on hard, and he said it's like pretty easy. Like you can get everything done. And I was like, okay, I'll check it out.
Yeah,
I'll do it
except
on
for
hard.
maybe like one boss at the end.
Okay.
It's like you could probably do it on hard, no problem. Because we'll get to it when we get to
I
it.
got
But the
through
dodge,
Dead Space on hard, the first one at least. Second one,
yeah,
fuck no. But
no,
first
just like
one,
the
yeah.
the dodge mechanic in this game kind of ruins it for me. But we'll get to it
Mm,
when we get to it.
okay. So instead, because I haven't done that yet, that's gonna be next week. We're gonna be talking, or James is gonna be talking about Pokemon's newest games, Scarlet and Violet. And then if we have time, or I might talk a little bit of Valheim. We'll see. Otherwise, I can just really talk like, oh, hey, I played Injustice and Mortal Kombat a little bit. But it's mainly just going to be a Pokemon episode. And yeah, I think that's really everything for now. And we'll talk, more of what's coming up this year again at the end of the episode. But without further ado, James, if you want to kick us off with your Pokemon experience and let us know which version you played.
I got Scarlet. Also, I gotta mentally switch gears for a second because I thought we were doing the 22 in review thing. So
Oh no, yeah,
I
no, I
know
said the Pokemon one. Yeah, I was like, what?
I got I got that
Gotta read the text,
switched in
bro.
my mind. Anyway, yeah,
That's after Callisto.
so I mentioned to you okay. So I have way more time to
Yeah.
I guess iron out that list. Anyway, so I mentioned to you when I finished Pokemon Scarlet that it is possibly the best Pokemon game I've ever played mechanically, but it's also a piece of shit and I hate it. Well, I don't hate it, but it's like I haven't played every single Pokemon game. I played Red, Silver, Emerald. I think I skipped Black. I played like Y and like Pokemon Sun, and
Oh yeah, so
I
you
meant
skipped like Diamond, Pearl, Black and White, all those?
no, I did Diamond. I forgot about that
Okay.
one. Yeah, so I played like most of the series, just not every single one, and like they always felt very samey to me. Like even when I was playing Pokemon Y, I didn't even finish that one because it was just like, yeah, it's another Pokemon game. I get it. The Mega Evolutions are kind of cool. Uh, Pokemon Sun was a little bit different in that it didn't have you just like going around doing the gym battles again. You had like specific tasks to do, but it was like kind of like a gym test, but not really.
Hmm.
Anyway, but it was always still mechanically very similar, where it's like you're wandering around, there's random battles. It's very I just felt aged at that point. And like I'll admit that I didn't play Sword or Shield and I didn't play Arceus. So some of the things that they introduced that are in this game that I really enjoyed might have already been in the series already. So take that for like into consideration.
Oh, compared to like if someone played all of them, they're like, this one didn't do shit.
Yeah,
If they
like
played the others, because they were very similar.
yeah, like some of the things someone who might know more than me about the more recent games might say like, "Oh, that's already a thing." Because I think some of the things might have already been in Arceus. For sure,
Hmm.
being able to see Pokemon in the open world, that was like a huge thing. That was like an Arceus thing. Actually, also, Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee did that too, but that was like a remake of the first games essentially, and they didn't feel like full Pokemon games from what it sounded from most people. Um, so it's just like it's really nice to when you're going around a new area that you've been like wandering around for a while to be able to actually see which Pokemons are around you, and so you don't have to just be like wandering around the tall grass for however long to just
Stay
like
out of the tall grass.
yeah, like I can't tell you how many times in older Pokemon games I would see a Pokemon once and I'd fail to catch it and I'd be like, oh, okay, well, I'll just stick around until I find it again. And I'd keep getting other Pokemon over and over again. And I just get so frustrated because I'm like, I just want the one thing that I missed. Like, I don't want to be here anymore. I want to move on to the next place. And now in Scarlet and Violet, you could just see Pokemon out in the wild. Also, that also helps for shiny hunting too, which apparently the spawn rates for those are absurdly low, but that's kind of like par for the course for shiny Pokemon. They're like meant to be super super rare.
Yeah, you're like, oh shit. Like I feel like for Pokemon, it's not something you want to actively do. Like I'm hunting for shinies. It's more of like a,
Some people
hey,
do.
cool, a shiny. I'm glad I caught it. Like if I see
Yeah.
one, I'll go for it. But otherwise, you're like, I want to say a good 10 hours of this game I did extra just looking for shinies. How many did you find? Two.
Yeah. So it's like super cool that like if you do really want to get into shiny hunting, you could just wander around and avoid all the battles until you literally see the one that you're looking for.
Mhm.
So that's super cool. Um the idea of having like the entire map available to you at the start, I kind of like. I don't like that the Pokemon don't seem to scale to your level. So they say you could go in any order to all the gyms and stuff like that, but there's definitely like an intended order to do everything because everything's like
Just go to one area,
a
it's like
set
level
level.
16. You're like, oh fuck, I'm only
Yeah, like
five.
just don't go north at the start.
I heard there's like a thing where you could just go to the final place or something immediately, like at the start or something like that.
I don't think you can
Or
go
there's like a glitch
to.
that someone accidentally did it and they're like, oh, I'm at
Oh, well,
the
maybe.
I walked over to the end by accident and it was like, wait, what? And it was like, yeah, I just started playing this game and I'm already at the end.
Yeah. Um. So, and like other little things like when you're trying to catch Pokemon, like you don't have to go all the way into your bag, into your item slot, into the Pokeball tab, and like select whatever Pokeball. They kind of like figure you're going to be catching Pokemon because that's literally the point of the game. So just whenever you're in a battle, just hit the X button and like before you choose a move, and that brings up the Pokeball menu. They made a menu specifically for that to make that shit faster.
That's good.
Yeah. So um like even like I like kind of that they give you the legendary Pokemon from the get-go. You just can't use it in battle. And instead of having to get a bike, having to get, all the TMs and stuff or HMs to teach your Pokemon like moves like slash or whatever to get past
I
trees
thought it was
or
yeah, it's TM.
oh maybe it is
If
TM.
I
Okay.
recall, like from actually Pokemon Go, I
Well,
was
there's
like, I'm
huh.
pretty sure it's in Pokemon Go.
Oh,
And then I sort of remember from like Blue and
well, they
Silver.
apparently recently eliminated one of them, the permanent ones, or the ones that you could use repeatedly. So now it's just the single use ones. Uh,
I didn't know they had permanent ones. Did
yeah,
they?
like surf was like a thing that you needed to use all the time, so it'd be really frustrating to like waste it on one Pokemon you can never use it again, and like fly.
Oh, that's what you mean. Okay.
Yeah, so
Is
like
it now that's just an ability they can do and it's
yeah,
not?
so
Okay.
now like there's like three quests to this game. There's essentially do all the gym battles, take out the gang, I guess, if you want to call it
The
that
Team
in this
Rocket,
game.
the
Yeah,
the insert Team Rocket name here.
dude, Team Star, and this is fucking stupid. I hate it. um, just because it's like their reasoning for existing is stupid to me. Uh, and then there's another dude who's like, hey, can you help me fight these like gigantic Pokemon that are appearing around the this region for some reason? Because I hear there might be these special herbs that that are making them grow and get all powerful. And he's like trying to make sandwiches out of them.
Out
Uh,
of the herbs or the
yeah,
Pokemon?
out of the herbs.
Okay, I was
They're
like,
called
if you
like
can eat Pokemon,
Herba
finally.
Mystica or whatever. Yeah.
Okay. You can feed
Um.
people Tauros meat.
So there's like three separate main missions to do essentially, and you can kind of complete them in whatever order you want, but there's definitely like certain parts of those quests you're not going to be able to do until you've got like some decently leveled Pokemon, and they all kind of like come together in the end, sort of, just because like all the friends you make from those three journeys
The
like
journey
are
was the friends you made along the way.
well, it's like in the end when you want to go to like area 0, which is like the crater in the center of the like Paldea country region. I keep forgetting they're called regions in Pokemon. Uh, like basically the guy who makes sandwiches is like, okay, we need to go to this like crater now because his mom is like the professor of this game. And
Is
dude,
that the
okay,
jungle chick?
it depends on which version you get. I chose
Really?
Scarlet because yeah, I got like Primal Lady.
Oh, that's the one with the primal lady.
Yeah, and
Yo,
then
the stuff I've seen I'm like, what is this? And I'm like, who the fuck is this? And they're like, this is the new Pokemon. I'm like, this is the new Pokemon? Are you
yeah, she's
serious?
the professor. She's like
God.
obsessed with ancient Pokemon.
Oh my god,
Uh,
that's crazy.
and then if you get Violet, you get Future guy who's like obsessed with the future. And it's super weird because like I would have loved the calling ancient Pokemon to literally be like, yo, we brought Aerodactyl back and shit like that. But no, they just bring like ancient versions of Pokemon you've already seen. Like uh one was definitely Donphan, but like more spiky.
Hmm.
I don't know. It was weird.
Spiky.
I'm gonna get into spoilers later if people want to like
Oh
avoid
man,
spoilers
dude,
because
you know how much I'm gonna lose my mind if you spoil Pokemon for me. I
dude,
still have to play Ruby and Sapphire, and then from there every other one that
like
I'm not actually gonna do.
usually the story doesn't really matter to me for
Oh,
Pokemon. It's all
I figure it doesn't matter at all.
it's all about like the gym battles because that's usually the only story they bother with is just like the one main path. Uh, but this one tries to go for some weird shit at the end that I was like, where the fuck did all this come from? Uh, so good things first. Like I've been mentioning, I really liked all the quality of life stuff. I liked that you instead of having to buy a bike and
Oh,
fight like
you get like a legend Pokemon, right?
yeah,
That's
your
just like
legendary
ride
Pokemon,
me.
yeah,
He
you can
just
just
starts
ride it.
climbing shit.
Although I do hate that in Scarlet, like I because I got the primal one, he's not all like futuristic, so he like his wheels don't actually turn and shit. So because he looks more organic in Violet, no, Scarlet, the one I have, he kind of just like inflates this like tube thing on his chest, but then he just like runs on all fours. It looks fucking stupid, and I don't get it.
So it's like in Scarlet, you choose. You're like, oh, you could get Jungle Mommy in Scarlet, and then in Violet, you're just with the dude that's like future. Is that
Yeah.
like kind of how it
By the
goes?
way, here's your like Tron bike
Yeah.
monster.
Here's your. So it's really like, do you want one is the professor, I guess, if you're feeling that way,
Yeah.
and the other has the mount, more or less.
Yeah. Except
Okay.
you like barely see the professor in this game anyway, so it's really weird. Like they only really come into play like pretty much at the very end. Um so the dude making sandwiches, Arvin.
Just I just love how many times Sandwich Man
Well, it's
comes
like
up.
that's literally his whole thing because like apparently his
I make
beloved
sandwiches. It's my thing.
his beloved Pokemon
His
like
beloved Pokemon.
it's like a dog. It's like an old like bulldog looking Pokemon. It's like apparently he got injured in a Pokemon fight like a year ago and it never recovered. So he's like hoping that these like magic super herbs that he makes sandwiches out of will like heal his
I'd
Pokemon.
hope they'd go to old Yallaroo. They ain't working like you
Nah.
used to. Come on, boy, we're growing in the back.
I thought they were going to for a second where he like gives it the last sandwich and it's like it's gotten better over the game, but it's not like back to 100% and he's got to like come to terms with like, well, you'll never be the way you used to, but I still love you. No, the dog's fine. It's totally good now. uh
Have they introduced guns to this game yet?
I don't think so. That's
Okay.
actually a good question. Like they've had swords and stuff. People were joking that the third version of
Oh, was
Sword and Shield
gun?
was going to be gun.
Yeah, I love that
uh
because I know it's like, oh, it could be spear or bow or something. Nah, dude, just do gun. Just put an AK on the cover. It'll be
yeah.
great.
Um and yeah, like I liked a lot of the characters. Like your like rival type character, Nemona, who's like she's not really a rival in this game. She's mostly just like,
Fighting a virus, fighting pneumonia. That's crazy.
oh no, nah, she's just like your upperclassman essentially, and she's just like, hey, new kid, do you like Pokemon battles? And she's just like, she seemed like bored Well, not like,
Is she like a shithead like Gary, or is she
oh
like,
no, she's super nice and just like always like positive
oh,
and
that's
like
not as fun. All
reassuring,
right.
and she's literally like,
She's
yeah,
like
you
your
can do it.
mentor rival,
Yeah,
kind of?
essentially.
Okay.
Like she essentially wants you to be better because she seems like she's never been fully challenged as a Pokemon master, even against like the Elite Four and stuff. So she's hoping that maybe you'll finally give her like a truly exciting battle. So that was like a nice little like final thing on top of beating the Elite Four and stuff like that. Um, and then like I guess like the very end of the story stuff was like, so once you like, oh, also by the way, the sandwiches that you feed the dog, you also feed to your legendary dude, and that gets
Your
him.
legendary is like, I could walk again.
He's literally like, "Yo, that sandwich smells hella good. Can I have some?" Like in Pokemon speak, essentially. And it's
Okay.
like there's some mystery in the beginning of the game of like it, for some reason it can't get itself back into like battle mode and it doesn't have all of its abilities yet, but somehow you find out that feeding it these sandwiches is like slowly getting its abilities back. So it's like that's how they give you abilities like now it can swim, now it can run, so it goes even faster, and like now you can literally just climb walls, so it's like Pokemon Breath of the Wild. Like, so that makes it a lot easier to like traverse the environment later on and stuff like that. And like, um, oh, why did I even start talking about the legendary guy again?
I think because
Uh,
you're just like, in this one you got a mount and everything else.
yeah,
Um, Sandwich Man.
I don't know. So it's like it's cool to get those abilities, and like you don't have to like choose. Like there was a joke meme, I guess, where there's like every Pokemon game, there's always that one Pokemon you keep in your team just to like give all the HMs to, so you can like do all the things you need to do and not have to like. But then you basically only have a team of five, and then like one tool Pokemon, and that's it. Now
Okay.
you don't have to bother with that. It's all like your legendary Pokemon does it for you. So that's nice.
Which starter did you choose? I already forgot which ones you could choose. Wasn't it?
I went with
There's the
the fire croc, Fuecoco.
That's what I would
Like
have chose. I heard, there's a cat you can make out with though. Is
I
that
really,
true?
I really wanted to get that cat Sprigatito, but then when I looked up, I cheated and I looked up the final evolutions because I was like, okay, they're not gonna stay like this forever. So like that cat is cute, and I hate that like fire alligator thing, but like, what do they look like when they evolve?
It's straight
And
up
dude,
just like it's like elementary school to high school. You're like, yo, this kid's the fat kid. I want to stick with him. Go with this kid. Turns out this kid, this kid's a furry in high school, and then fat kid got really buff.
yeah, dude, like okay, so Fuecoco evolves into like just literally a fire ghost alligator.
That sounds actually pretty cool.
It's pretty cool and
And the
super
cat's like, I
useful.
can walk now. Want to make out, dude? Okay, real fast. I think it was like kind of funny or something. They're like, yeah, like there's someone made out with the cat, and I'm like, what the fuck does that even mean? It's like, yeah, there's like a picnic thing you could do, and you
Oh
pet
yeah.
them, and they might do like a nuzzle thing or get real close or whatever. But like they're all different heights and stuff. So the cat's your height, and I'm like, what are they talking about? So I look it up, and I'm like, yo, Pokemon Scarlet cat picnic or some shit, and yeah, I see it, and it just like you just see what happens, and I'm like, "Oh my god, dude, Pokemon's gotten fucking weird. I don't I see why I stopped playing these games."
Yeah.
Oh my god. Yeah, I don't want that cat.
So there's a lot of like quality of life improvements that makes this game like easier to play and just like more fun. Also, they littered TMs like all over the map, so there's constantly like, oh, what's that over there? Oh, what's that over there? And then like you're constantly getting shit that you can use. It's also nice that defeating Pokemon in general also gets you crafting materials, so you can just go
Make
to
more
a Pokemon
Pokeballs?
Center and make more TMs
Oh,
like
okay. Can you craft
whenever.
Pokeballs, or is that do you still have to just,
Nah,
like,
I still
buy
gotta
them?
buy those.
How many
Yeah.
types are there now, out of
A
curiosity?
lot. I don't want to go on listing them
No,
all
it's
because
fine.
it'd be
No,
a
it's
while.
okay. I mean, like, is it
Um,
like I guess ballpark estimate, is it like 5 or like now I mean, it used to be 5, I feel like, at
oh,
a
there could
certain
be at
point.
least 10.
10. That's not as honestly, it's not as bad as I thought it would
Because they
be.
have like Pokeballs for like they're good for catching specific types, and then like other ones
Okay.
like timer balls, which are like more effective the longer the battle goes. And then like, oh, I forget what the other quick ball or whatever, where it's like if it's got a higher chance of working if you use it immediately.
Interesting. Okay, I get you.
Yeah. So, and then like the oh man, the final story bit is interesting, but so fucking weird. So like you've been contacted throughout the game every time you take out one of the or every time you power up the legendary one more time, like the professor contacts you and is like, hey, I have detected you've like oh god, I'm literally forgetting what the name of the legendary is called right now. It's like Coridon or something like that for Scarlet. Like she basically calls you and is like, hey, I've detected that you've like that its power has increased, like, so keep on doing what you're doing and it'll be up to full power in no time. And when you finally level it up all the way or get all its abilities back and stuff, she calls Arvin, and that's when you find out that she's his mom, and also I guess the future professor is his dad. uh
Hmm.
I feel so bad for Arvin at the end because like his whole thing is like the reason why he was so set on fixing this one Pokemon was because his mom was like constantly just abandoning him essentially to focus on her work, and his Pokemon was like the only friend he had essentially.
Damn.
And so he's like, okay, well now like the first time mom contacts me in a long time is to talk to you and she just needs something from us, so you know what, I'm gonna come along and I'm gonna give her like, what's on my mind and shit like that. I'm gonna
That's
finally have a
fucking
talk with
hilarious.
her.
That's great. Oh my
Yeah.
god.
And then like that's also your like you can't do that until you finish the other two things because he's like, we might need someone who's really good at battling Pokemon because there's strong Pokemon in that crater. Someone like a champion. And it's like, you mean Nimona? And it's like, we might also need someone who's good with computers. You might know someone like that, and you find a hacker who's like helping you
That's like
in
his build
Team
back.
Star. Yeah. So once you get the whole team together and stuff like that, also, I
Basically
guess to
formed a D&D party. Like what the fuck?
essentially, like
Okay.
real quick to talk about Team Star because I just didn't care for them much at all. It was like their character designs were interesting, but their whole thing was like they were getting bullied in school, so they started a gang to fight back against the bullies, and now everyone's like, oh no, there's a gang in the school.
So there's a
uh,
school now.
so yeah, now they have like yeah, the
There's a
game.
Poke Academy. Is that what it's called?
Yeah, the game starts off in a school. Your whole thing is like you are a new student at this academy because you just moved to Paldea or whatever. And like your whole reasoning for going on an adventure is that every year, I guess, they have their students go on this treasure hunt to just like literally go and explore Paldea and see if they find something interesting. Either they find like a real treasure or they learn something or they discover something about themselves, which is the real treasure. I don't know. But like it's a really stupid excuse for just like, yeah, this is why we have a school, but also you just still go on a Pokemon adventure. Also, I hated those classes. Like I've talked about
This is
Persona.
the. I was about to say, is this the opposite of Persona?
Dude, I've talked about Persona before where like I've griped about some of the questions in those classes being something that like most people wouldn't know offhand. But like I still find like the whole classroom like aspect to that game and like the outside like real world stuff is just as interesting as like the actual like RPG battling and stuff like that is like the main story in those games.
Mhm.
But in Pokemon, it's like part of it was like kind of a tutorial to teach you like the more in-depth stuff about Pokemon, which I appreciate. But they also had you do like literally midterms and finals. And there didn't seem to be any point to it other than just getting like experience items that you could use, which I never did.
Okay.
And they took so fucking long. To give you a context for how long getting all these classes took, and granted, I like totally forgot about them until I was done with most of the gyms, and then it was like, by the way, since you've been doing these gyms, you like have been accruing more classes that you can go to. You might want to go back to school and learn some things. And it's like, Oh yeah, okay, I'll get that out of the way. While we were watching the Game Awards, I was watching the Game Awards live, and I
Hmm.
was like, well, shit, this thing's like 2.5 hours or whatever, like, or an hour and a half. How long was it?
It was nearly 3 hours, I want to say.
Oh yeah, okay. I was like, okay, well, I've gotten one of the classes completely done. There's like 5 other classes or whatever, or something like that. Surely I'll be able to finish this shit by the end of Game Awards. It took me like the entire fucking time. So that's like hours of just boring classroom shit that just feels like basic
Hours of
Pokemon tutorial.
in-game classes? That is awful.
And well, the
Okay.
thing, each class is like super short, but they have each subject has like 6 classes plus a midterm and a final. And it goes so slowly, and it's just like it's not fun. It's not particularly like helpful because it's all shit that I feel like would have been read faster in a tutorial menu.
Hmm.
So I
Would
hated
you
the.
would you say it's bad gameplay?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Like I did not enjoy any of the classroom stuff really. Like it's kind of cool that like when you finish that stuff you get to like talk to your professors and learn more about them, but I don't think there needed to be a like school theme for this game. But that's
What
just
do you
my
think
opinion.
if they did like what do you think would have been a better way of doing it if they were going to do this kind of thing?
Well, if they had done something literally more like Persona, where like, yeah, you go to class, but the point of school stuff is more like building social interactions and stuff. Like if they had focused on that, like building your relationship with Arvin and Nimona and like the other characters and stuff like that, that would have been a cool, useful time or a use of the like school time stuff. But
And do you think like if they give you the out because like you have to take these people, right? You can't like choose
yeah.
which people you'd want potentially in that little like group you make,
Yeah,
right?
that would also be cool if there were like more characters and you could actually like literally choose like who you think would be more
You a
useful.
choice? Oh fuck, the switch broke. God damn it.
Yeah. Dude, literally, when I get to the why this game is shit, like this is the only game that I have ever seen my Switch hard crash on.
I've
Like
heard I heard there were so many problems in the
I
beginning.
have never seen my game like just stop and close and the Switch say a problem occurred. And I was just like, I have literally never seen a game crash on the Switch. Like, not that I thought it was impossible, but oh, that's bad.
That's because they're all small and fucking not online usually also, but you
Yeah.
know,
So to finish up with the main story stuff again, real quick, because I went on a huge detour.
no worries.
You finally make your way all the way down to the bottom of the crater of like Paldea or whatever,
Mhm.
where supposedly the professor is has been this whole time, and where your legendary Pokemon came from too. And you find out that the professor's been dead the whole time.
The jungle mommy?
Or the dad, yeah.
Oh
Like,
damn. Wait, the other like oh wait, so like
yeah, apparently they're like both
wait
of Arvin's parents are just dead no matter what.
oh both wait, so are you telling me like in Scarlet with when you have Jungle Lady, I'm just gonna keep calling her Jungle Mommy, I love that. The dad's dead. And then in the other version, the mom's dead.
They don't really mention the other parent
Oh
in
wait,
either
so the
version.
parent dies. The professor that's in that game dies in that
Yeah.
game.
Yeah, and they just don't mention the other parent, but I think you can assume that they're just like out of the picture or whatever. Because it seemed like Arvin only ever talks about the one parent. So you find out that the thing you've been talking to this whole time is like an AI, like based on the professor's like brainwaves or whatever, essentially like a cortata of her. And I'm just like, wait, what? Wait, oh no, you actually meet a literal physical robot. She built a robot of herself for some reason.
Is the kid just like, oh fuck, my mom's dead?
Like you don't even like you find out like he finds out after you or something like that. And yeah, he essentially is like really confused and he's like, wait, but no, but I've been talking to you this whole time. Like, huh? And eventually he like once everything all finishes and everyone's having their like wrap up, they're like, "Hey Arvin, how you doing?" And he's like, "You know what? I'm actually doing pretty good. I didn't have a very good relationship with my mom for a long time, and you know what? Knowing definitively her end is like kind of a nice closure for me." And I'm like, Wow, you're taking the death of your parent like really fucking well.
I mean, it sounds like he thought all the negative stuff from his parent was actually just the robot. So probably all the good shit from the parent happened, and then he was just like the parent was dead, so the robot made him less actually sympathetic towards his real parent.
It's so weird.
Oh
Like
my
I think
god.
it's because like he got to have a final moment with the robot that like it
It
gave him
just
that
looks like
closure.
a fucking robot. Like,
No, it just looks like her.
oh, it's her. It's so it's
It's
like
literally
a.
like a Terminator of her.
Is it like a synth from Fallout 4?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
Okay.
like clothes and everything. Like she just like literally copied herself. She's made a complete like there's no other like moment in this game where they insinuate that like robots or higher technology is a thing, but she fucking did it. Oh,
Fucking Elder
also
Maxon comes in, fucking synths, just starts
uh,
fucking doing shit, bro, blowing her up and shit. Oh my god, that'd be great.
also she built a time machine? Like literally that was how she was going to like research ancient Pokemon was just bring them to the
Is
present.
that what killed her? Was time travel, or was it just
Apparently there
like
was like an accident in one of the labs and there was like an explosion and before she was apparently mortally wounded, but not so mortally wounded she couldn't build a robot copy of herself in the meantime just to like keep her research going. I don't know, something like that. I
that's
may be getting
wow,
the timing
man.
on that wrong,
Yeah,
but
yeah, that's
I'm
a.
pretty sure that's what they said happened.
It couldn't do something cool where someone just like, I've got a gun, or a Pokemon goes, I've got a gun, like anything like that. No.
Nah.
Okay. Yeah.
So, and I'm guessing like the professor, the dude from the other version, he built a time machine to bring Pokemon from the future, I guess. So the AI is like, I have all of the memories and the emotions and stuff of the professor, but I'm also my own thing. And with my logic, I have realized that her plan of just bringing ancient Pokemon to the present and letting them thrive in the present will decimate current like ecosystems. So I'm
You're
gonna help you
letting
shut
in a
down.
bunch of Godzillas, guys.
Yeah, essentially, like literally, like that was apparently where those like giant Pokemon were coming from that you were fighting with Arvin. Was like literally they were just escaped like Titans from the past. Uh, and so she agrees to help you. She leads you to the time machine, and she's like, "By the way, I've been programmed to perfect or to protect the professor's research at all costs. So as soon as you start this shutdown sequence, I'm probably gonna turn on you."
I'm going to pull out a gun.
Not literally, like
Let's battle with Pokemon.
that's exactly what
You
happens. Like
defeated me. I guess I can't do
you
anything.
start the shutdown
I'm safe.
process. She gets like lifted up into the air by this machine, and her like eyes turn red, and she's like, I don't know. She started talking like an actual like AI like machine stuff. Like although there's no voice acting in this game, which is another thing that makes it feel weird and dated. Because they still have cutscenes.
I mean, it's on that powerful DS engine that they never updated or anything, right?
Yeah.
It's literally a
So
fucking DS engine they've been using on the Switch this entire
yeah,
time.
that explains a lot of things. So there was so you battle the professor, you beat her, and she's just like, "Hey, you succeeded! Like the machine's gonna finally get shut down." And then like, oh god, I forget exactly like the shutdown doesn't work or something like that. And she finds
Mhm.
out that like, oh, I'm part of the machine or whatever. So as
You
long as
gotta
I'm
shut me
around,
down.
she's literally like, as long as I'm around, this machine will keep on going. So she
You give the
instead
gun
of
to Armin and you go, you shoot her.
choosing
Please
to
tell me
stay with
that's what
Arvin or
happens.
whatever and like helping him, she's like, I'm gonna peace off to the past where I can belong. Yeah. And she just like leaves. Uh so yeah, that I would so this entire Pokemon journey where I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm getting the gym badges, I'm fighting giant Pokemon and making sandwiches, I'm apparently beating up a bunch of kids that were getting bullied. Uh and uh
It's
I would
just that's how the circle of life works. There's a
uh,
food chain in school and you have to obey it.
like I never expected the ending to be the professor's been dead the whole time. She's a robot. She's going to fight you with Pokemon from the past that she gets from a time machine. And then she's going to like leave and go to the past.
Oh well, back to school.
Yeah,
I'll see you
exactly.
in, dude. I'm sorry your mom's dead. I'll see you in class tomorrow.
No, like literally, that's kind of how the game ends. Is like it's like once you finish everything, it's like okay, I guess back to school, and then like the next day in school, the headmaster is basically like, hey, let me talk to you about like your awesome accomplishments. And by the way, like the head of the Elite Four is here to give you a new task. And essentially, it's just like, hey, post game content, go and do all the gym battles again, but harder. Yeah.
It sounds awful.
Yeah, I haven't gotten to
It
that yet.
sounds, all of this sounds awful.
So that was all the positive stuff. It's like well, besides like the ending getting like super wacky, but like the
Good ass fucking game, man.
so at least mechanically, it's a very fun Pokemon game to play. Like the fact that you can see Pokemon in the open world, it helps catching the things you don't have yet. They even introduced auto battling where you could just do quick battles for less experience, but they're faster, and you get resources from that. Like exploring the world is kind of fun, and like there's actually different varied environments like around the map. And like there's even some like I like that having three different campaigns that kind of come together at the end adds some variety to the things you're doing from moment to moment. So it's not just the 8 gym battles and then battling along the way. But oh my god, this game runs like dog shit. Like it makes me wonder if Nintendo was planning on doing instead of just a Switch OLED, they were going to do a Switch Pro with like a better processor, and Pokemon Company or Game Freak
I
was
feel like Game Freak's
planning on that.
just kind of been doing nothing. This, I mean, it feels like they're just kind of they're like the Bethesda Softworks, the Bethesda game studios of Nintendo, where they're just like, yeah, we've been having this thing run on this old engine for 20 years now, and
Yeah. And
it's shit.
that's
So we're gonna keep
probably more
using
like
it. It's the same thing. It goes, yeah, it's gonna run like shit. It probably will break, but guess what? We could put a Pokemon label on a trash can, and you fuckers are gonna buy it anyway. So it doesn't matter. That
yeah, and
really
like
is the thing. I bet it really is. It doesn't matter. They'll buy it anyway.
oh no, that's the saddest thing is like got so literally like a day after Sony Santa Monica put out like a tweet celebrating that like this is the fastest selling God of War title we've ever had, like the fastest selling Sony first party game we've ever seen. It sold like 6 or 7 million copies within the first week or something like that.
Made me cry. It
Dude,
did.
Pokemon
It did make
Scarlet
me cry.
and Violet and like
Outsold the shit out of it, didn't it? It
it
like
sold like 10 million
destroyed it.
copies in 3 days.
Yeah, that makes sense. I'm not shocked. Nintendo games do
Yeah.
that. Yeah,
It's like, and granted, that is also
they're
a
brain
record for
dead.
the Pokemon series, I think. But
Well, yeah, now they have they have millennials and Gen Z and whatever is after Gen Z now playing it all together, and maybe some Gen Xers too, I'm sure.
yeah, and so like the co-op in this game, it works, but there's like not really a point to doing it.
Okay.
Like like Chris and I tried it once, and we were like, okay, so we could do these raid battles together, but like other than that, there's really no reason for us to be in each other's world. It's just like it's almost like they did it as a check mark or a checkbox to be like, we finally put multiplayer in the game. It's there. I mean, to be fair, like multiplayer's been in the game, just not like co-op
Yeah,
multiplayer.
yeah, you did battle someone and shit
Yeah.
online. Yeah. Still
So,
use link cables? Is that a thing? I'm just kidding.
oh my god, I wouldn't put it past them to be
That would
like,
be
like they literally did have. I mean, granted, this is like a different thing. It just makes sense, but like when Smash Bros. Ultimate was coming out, they were like, by the way, like you can play it multiplayer online with Wi-Fi, but you would have a better experience if you plugged it in. Uh, yeah,
I will give
which makes sense.
Nintendo that one thing is at least they still incorporate split screen for certain
Yeah,
games. That
yeah,
at least for Smash, like thank God. Whereas fucking, Halo can't even do one thing right. But anyway, continue.
yeah. Um, so like I mentioned, it's like the only game I've ever seen like hard crash on me before. Like I've never seen that on the Switch. And like I thought like Hyrule Warriors was like gonna crash my Switch because it slowed down so much, but it never broke.
It's that Musou mode, man. It just went crazy. You start hearing the Dynasty Warriors riffs, and it just breaks the Switch. That's how it goes.
And it's like there's other little things like the pop in this game is like it can't render shit more than like 15 feet away from your character. And
Oh,
like,
so as you're coming, it just like appears, and you're just like, "What the fuck?" Because it's still trying to just render in.
oh yeah, and it's
Oh
like
my
it's
god.
weirdly inconsistent too, because like some things it can seem to pop in from like a distance and other things it can't.
It could be
It
the amount of whatever it is in that item as it's coming in. Maybe there's a lot more within it compared to like other stuff.
That's possible. And like it was so bad that it was almost like that was their attempt at still doing the random battles where if you're like running full speed with your Pokemon or on your Pokemon, you might still run into the Pokemon accidentally because like they literally spawn in front of you and you can't move in time because they just can't spawn farther.
Hmm.
Um like they tried, I guess, to help with performance of the game by making like character animations in the distance slow down to like less frames, and it's like you can do that as long as they're far enough away that it's like you'll never notice, but they do that to people that are like 20 feet away from you, like or 30 feet away from you, like across a room in the school, and it's like I feel like if they had just intentionally kept all walking animations to lower frames, they could have passed it off as like it's just like their stylistic thing. They wanted it to look more like the older like Pokemon games that are more like cell shaded or whatever. Well, not really, but like it could have been a look, but it's really jarring and like takes you out of the experience when the closer you get like it once you get within like 5 feet of someone, then they're full frame animation, full 30 frames or
Okay.
whatever. So it's like it's so obvious that it's not that they did like it's not a stylistic look. It's just that like they literally their engine could not handle more frames on character animations without like being even slower. Like and the frame rate was like it was supposed to be like capped at 30, but I feel like I almost never got that. Like it's it's slowed down constantly. So it's like that's what's so frustrating about Pokemon these two games selling and like I say two games, but like most people I don't think buy both versions. Most
There are
people oh,
some
there's
that are
definitely
just
people that do
insane.
that.
Yeah.
Otherwise they wouldn't sell like literally they sell a double pack that's like not even discounted. It's just like, hey, if you want to buy both games, you can do it in one go. It costs the same.
Can
It's
we get a
just
discount? No, we're Nintendo. What the fuck do you think is gonna
uh,
happen?
it's like, and so like you mentioned, like no matter what, people will buy it, and people did. And so it's like, I don't know, I don't have the confidence in the Pokemon Company or Game Freak to like want to work like fix this issue for the next game because like what's their incentive? People they've seen clearly people will buy it, and like people complained a lot for this one, and a lot of people said that like this could be the last straw because like they haven't run well for a while, and this is just like inexcusable. But I have a feeling that like come the next year or 2 years from now when the next one comes out, people will still buy it. Maybe not 10 million copies, but people will still buy it and it'll still make money. And yeah, like if it's truly that they're working on the same engine from the 3DS,
Hmm.
like that explains a lot of shit because it looks like a 3DS game a lot of the times. Like definitely a little bit better. I'll give it like a little bit of credit. Like it's not the same resolution as a switch as a 3DS game, but like graphically it doesn't look that much better. Like the geometry of the game is really simple. Like I shit you not, like you know how there are times where you could see like that a mountain off in the distance in a game is like a little not as detailed as it
Yeah.
normally is because you're like miles away and it doesn't
And
need to
then
be
as you get
as
closer, it
detailed.
starts to, yeah.
Yeah. there were some sections in this game where I could literally see as I was walking towards it from like, again, like 20 or 30 feet away, it seems like from my character, I could see the geometry of the game, not the textures rendering into a higher resolution texture, just the geometry actually shifting in front of me. And I'm just like, did no one notice this when they were like testing it, or like did no one go to this specific corner and see it, or were they just like, well, it doesn't break the game, so fuck it. I don't know. So it's like it's so hard for me to recommend this game. I honestly, I feel like those people that I thought were crazy for liking Cyberpunk when it came out, because it's like there's so many people that were like, I don't know, it's got a few bugs, but like other than that, underneath all the crap, it's actually pretty good. And then I waited to play Cyberpunk until like most of the bugs were worked out, and I was like, oh, it is a decent game.
I mean, from what it sounds like, I don't think this should be, I guess, put in with Cyberpunk, just because look at the scale and the amount of insanity that Cyberpunk is compared to this
Yeah,
fucking thing that can't even run on a fucking
and that's the thing. It's like
toy that's a Switch.
it's a similar feeling where I'm like, it's underneath all the crap and the grime, it's super fun. I just wish it ran better and didn't fuck up all the time. Uh, but so like I want to hope that Game Freak and the Pokemon Company hear all the backlash to these versions of this game. I guess the newest game.
I mean, I feel like they've come out with so many fucking Pokemon at this point, even on the Switch. They should just take a break and make a new engine. Like,
Yeah,
make
I
it
didn't even
figure their shit out.
I didn't even realize that within the last like couple years or a few like yeah, on just the Switch alone, they've got the Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee games, uh
Which,
Diamond and no.
yeah, no, Diamond and Pearl
Uh
was on Switch.
yeah,
Yeah.
Diamond and Pearl remastered. Um
Is X and Y DS or
that's 3DS.
okay?
Sword and Shield.
Sun and Moon.
Arceus, no, Arceus was or sorry, Sword and Moon was also 3DS.
Oh, thank God. Okay.
And now uh Scarlet and Violet. So that's
And Pokemon
5,
Snap.
and Pokemon Snap 6. So that's 6 Pokemon games.
Well, 6 plus their doubles too, if you want to
Yeah,
count that as well.
I count them as like essentially the same game, but like yeah. So you can say 6 or 11 because there's no second version of Snap. That God, that would frustrate me. But so that's like a lot of games in like. I mean, the Switch has only been out for like 5 or 6 years.
Yeah,
like that's impressive, but also not really when you look at Scarlet and Violet and you're just like, really? Like you've been doing this for how many years?
you live like this.
like this is your job and you made this? But so yeah, it's like
it.
So it's like if you are a diehard Pokemon fan, you'll probably still like it mechanically. But like me, you will also be deeply frustrated by the performance of it. And I don't think they can fix it for this one. I think this is about as good as it gets for this. And like they have mentioned on social media that like we've heard the complaints, we're working to improve things, but I don't believe they have the ability to fix this one.
I mean, it's been how long now since it launched too?
It came out in like I want to say November. It came out after God of War. It came out like literally the week that I finished God of War, and that was why I was like, you know what? I just finished God of War. I got time.
Okay. Interesting.
So yeah, overall, mechanically, they've definitely improved the series. They just need to get a better engine or something. I don't know.
Interesting. Okay. That's yeah, it just I love it because I'm like each new Pokemon comes out and I'm like, is this the one that sells me on it? It's like, no, it still isn't. And I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
God. I mean, that's
I really didn't think I'd be like driving about Pokemon for like almost an hour. I was like,
I mean, I
oh
figured.
no.
I mean that was the point of this episode. This was like a hey, you can get Pokemon out of the way. We can get it done. I forget, you played did you buy Pikachu or Eevee when you did Let's Go?
I didn't get either of those because I was like, yeah,
because I still haven't. I'm like, yeah, what did I say like 2 months ago? I'm like, guys, I'm finally opening Let's Go Pikachu, and I still didn't. Because I'm like, oh, I'm behind on my comics. So anytime I go anywhere, I'm just reading instead. But I'm like trying to catch up. And I was talking to Brandon actually, because he was playing. I was with a bunch of dudes. They're playing Magic cards, and while Brandon was waiting, he played on his Switch. He was playing whichever version it was of Pokemon, and I was just like, you know what? I should just start. Yeah, I should just start bringing my Switch to these things, and this is potentially when I could play it when they're doing Magic or some shit, and I don't really care, and I could just finally play Let's Go Pikachu, and I guess see how that is, and if it scratches my red and blue taste or like itch that I've been wanting to re-scratch for a long time, and if I'll feel good with it or not. But yeah, okay. That was interesting though. Honestly, like I'm glad you told me all this because I was always very curious. Considering also like my friend, Ty, he's a really big Pokemon person. He hasn't played any of the Switch games. He doesn't
Really?
think any of them are of interest. Yeah, the last ones
That's
he played were on
interesting.
DS. Yeah, because the whole thing, he was the one that told me about all the engine stuff, I'm pretty sure, and everything else. Like he's just like, yeah, they haven't really tried. And I'm like, oh, okay. Or something like that. I wanna like throw words in his mouth or anything, but basically he was just like, I'm not playing these. And he just does Pokemon Go.
That's interesting.
um
So there are still people that are like not liking what the Pokemon company is doing and refusing to buy them, but
yeah.
just I guess not enough.
Yeah, no, definitely not enough. The average person's still gonna throw their money away at this no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
And the weirder average person will be throwing their money at this, getting two of the same thing no matter what. That just has a couple different fucking things, and then go, "Wow, I got both."
Dude, like the most.
Honestly, I think that's still a stupid thing that they do. That they make both. That's such a
Oh, I
bullshit
hate
thing
it.
that
I've
like still is a money grubbing thing, and
Dude, I've
it's
hated it
honestly
since I was a
stupid
kid
and
because like
disgusting.
they literally are like, okay, like you can buy this game, but you won't get all the content unless you either buy a second copy
Or wait,
or rope a friend into buying the other copy.
or
So
wait for our Game of the Year edition version that's like yellow or
yeah,
crystal or
the third
emerald.
version. Yeah.
Yeah, because that pretty much has everything, right?
Usually. I don't know. It's like it's weird.
How is just real fast because I know Emerald, because the whole thing with like Ruby and Sapphire was they had different teams. Like, wasn't it like Team
Yeah.
Magma and Team whatever the fuck? And Emerald, does that just have a weirder story that's just like here's everything? Like it's a whole crazy shit of like you've got magma and water or whatever the fuck. I really
Yeah,
don't know
that's
what the
weird.
other
Like
one's name is.
I know I played Emerald. I think it kind of like covers both gangs, but then also Rayquaza shows up and you gotta fight like Space Dragon.
But you basically can get like, isn't one has Kyogre and one has Groudon, right?
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
Emerald, you can get all three.
I believe so.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah. Okay. That's why I feel like I almost want to go back and just be like, yeah, I just want to play the Game of the Year editions. Just fucking do all
Yeah.
that. Be like, yeah, I get everything. But okay, that's interesting. Um, I guess I will quickly run through my fighting games that I've wanted to talk about forever, but I have less to say now because time has passed, which is, annoying thing. But honestly, this has been the last thing in my backlog. After this, like, I'm trying to keep it to just what's current. Of like, we're talking about this because we just watched it or played it, which will be a better, I think, way to go if I do say so myself. I played Injustice 2 and Mortal Kombat 11, and I I've said it before when I've talked about the previous versions of these games or the previous iterations. I'm not a fighting game person. I legitimately, this is probably people will think I'm a shithead or stupid for this. I play these games for the story,
I
and
would
some people.
normally give you shit for that, but dude, Mortal Kombat 11 and the Injustice games have shockingly good stories.
I enjoy myself. I'm like, oh, these are fun. The voice acting's great. Like I am enjoying every single piece of this. Where it's like, I guess like Street Fighter or something. And the other just like
Yeah.
I don't really know. I could be wrong. I don't play those games, so I don't really know. Um, I enjoyed the stories for both of these. I enjoyed the combat a lot, and because just like I have enough games I play, and I've never been a person that like outside of an arcade goes like, oh yeah, I want to play, I want to fight somebody online, I want to do this fighting game online. So this is kind of like my fill, where I just want a little bit. I don't want a whole thing. I don't want to spend all this time on it, and the campaign is like an easy way of doing it. I don't honestly, I have zero itch to be competitive, so I don't have any itch to like jump online and play people, and it just it's satisfying. It really is just satisfying the way they pulled off. And I think Injustice 2 outdid Injustice 1 in terms of story, but also because they have such good. You fucking the I think his name is like what Tom. I think his name is Tom Daly. I can't remember his full name, but he's the voice of Superman in the animated series, and he voices him in Injustice. I'm almost positive. And then I'm pretty sure it's Kevin Conroy's Batman. I can't remember if it is or not for Injustice, but uh they do such a good job with them. Everyone else is like in it doing such a good job. Like the way they introduce like Blue Beetle and Firestorm as the younger generation and all that. And then for Mortal Kombat, like it was interesting that they're like, we're doing some crazy time shit. Here's like the older versions of that, like the original versions, and also like the older versions where they're like fucking Reapers now because they died and got turned into
Yeah, dude,
zombies.
I love that they deal with that shit where there's like evil versions and stuff like that.
The way it ends too, when you do the DLC, it gets even crazier. Like kind of it basically goes, hey, all the stuff you did in the first story, yeah, fuck that. And you're like, oh, that
Yeah.
sucks. Because you play as a lot of past players or like players that were thrown in like the in-between. It was actually kind of like DC Rebirth a bit, where they're like, hey, Wally West was trapped between worlds because we didn't know where to put him in the story. So there's like, oh, here's like these three guys, and they bring back
Dude, I love young Johnny versus old Johnny.
oh, that was fucking hilarious. But also they
Uh,
had what's his name? Is it Shang
they
Tsung?
shot our face, Johnny.
Was it Shang Tsung? Like one of the
uh,
villains. He's like, finish it. Like
oh yeah.
yeah. The actor, I'm pretty sure I forget what his name is, but like they used the old like the movie
Your
design.
soul is mine.
Yeah, they do the full fucking movie design, so he looks fantastic, and it's also satisfying when you kill him, and
Oh yeah.
he basically gets super erased from the timeline. Like they're just like, you've been fully retconned, you've been canceled, sir.
Like I know it was in the trailer, but like one of my favorite lines from that entire DLC is just when Kung Lao is talking to Liu Kang. He's just like, "Our future's Liu Kang. It is insane." He's like, he's not wrong.
They're just like, fuck, this sucks, dude.
I thought that
God, it
dude's whole
was
fighting style is just like sharp hat,
yeah. Oh, dude,
and
Kung
he can
Lao is
teleport.
fantastic. I know people love Liu Kang, but I love Kung Lao more.
He's
I
really
love
fun
his
to play
hat.
as
His
too.
hat's so fucking great to play with.
Yeah.
I probably played. I want to say my favorite characters I chose were Kung Lao, Sub Zero, and Katana. Were probably the three I played with the most, and maybe Jade.
Yeah.
I think I played with her a bit. Uh,
I liked Jackie Briggs a lot.
she's very interesting. Yeah, because the way they have them designed too, because like it's like, oh, her and
I also like that. Yeah, she's like palling around with her
Cassie.
like young dad.
Dude, that was funny as hell. And they're like, Dad, what are you doing? I'm doing this for you. It's like,
Oh
Dad, you're
yeah,
ruining the
I totally
world.
forgot.
Oh
And yeah, like
yeah.
old Jack's like turned because
Yeah.
everything went wrong for him or whatever, and they were like, "We'll turn back time and fix everything."
Your
And
mom's dead.
dude, like
Or
watching,
something.
yeah, something like that, and
Or
like
he
what?
was like, he still had like PTSD from being a wraith, I think. Or something like that. It could have been
Yeah,
that. I don't remember
yeah,
though.
and just like
Yeah.
watching,
Which is crazy. Like, yo, how's this fighting game? Yo, this dude got PTSD from being undead. That's
yeah,
insane.
and just like watching his young self beat like the sense into him was so fun.
It was great. God. And having all the
This
ships,
is
like
between me, myself, and I.
dude, when you find out what's her face, it was Sylvana, Shiva. Shiva, not Shiva. What's Katana's mom's name again? Sindel.
Oh,
When you
Sindel,
find
yeah.
out Sindel is fucking evil the whole time, and you're
Yeah,
like,
dude, when you find out like she was
what
like the
the fuck?
major villain, I was like, what? How do you do that?
She's like, oh, Shao Kahn, yeah, I called for him and killed your father because he was weak and he was for the people. He was giving too much shit to the people, and I was like, you
Yeah.
bitch.
Like she literally called Shao Kahn to like conquer her world for her.
It was insanity. I could not believe like after everything that was the mic drop I think of the entire game was just oh Sindel's been evil the whole time and you're like I can't believe you've done this.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a good time. I really enjoyed myself. I think that came out in 2017 or 2019 or something like that. I want to say.
Mm.
Let me double check that really fast. I need to
Another
just
thing I
because
really
I'm
appreciate about that, like MK11 specifically, is like it has a really robust like tutorial system. Like it really does everything it can to help you get better at playing fighting games. At
It,
least specifically Mortal Kombat, but
yeah,
like
because it
just in
has you go
general.
through every character, and they're like, "Hey, you're gonna do 3 to 4 fights, so you can kind of get used to them and see how they fight against other types of characters and whatnot." So you're really gonna getting to learn. Kotal Khan, in terms of like a
Dude, that
heavy
guy's hella
character,
cool.
I love Kotal Khan. That was a good time. I got pissed off when he got
Dude,
fucked over in the
I love
DLC
how
again.
he actually became the new Khan.
Yeah, no, that was fantastic.
Yeah.
Uh, so 2019 of April was the last time they've done something, and they said they're still not ready to show what they have. But I'm very curious. I'm like, all right, is it going to be in Mortal Kombat 12? Is it going to be Injustice 3? Is it going to be something completely different? Like, what's on the plate for NetherRealm? Um, but it's going to be interesting when we finally find out what it is. And
Yeah.
I don't really have anything else to say about it. Just like I said, it's been a while. But otherwise, I enjoyed everything about it. I got my fill. It's short. It's easy. I'm like, I enjoyed my fighting game. I get to touch every like 3 years or something and kind of get my hands on it for a little bit. Even though now I think in the coming year, a bunch of friends are telling me we're all buying Tekken, whatever the fuck, 8. Is it 8 now? And it's got the chain to make it 8. I
Oh
think
yeah,
that's how that
yeah.
works. And I'm like, do I have to buy Tekken 8? I guess that's the one with the I could play with a jaguar or something. A man's with like a
Uh,
jaguar head.
I think
King.
that guy's name is just King.
I think it's King, and there's like a luchador girl or something. I'm like,
There's a
oh
literal bear.
yeah, I might check it out. I might get that game.
It's
We'll see
just,
what happens. Fucking
I think
insanity.
he's also a robot now, but
And then what? Street Fighter 6,
uh,
you're fighting in the streets? That's crazy.
yeah, actual street fighting.
Yeah. So I'll see how it goes. If it's like I have expendable cash and people are like, "Hey, we're going to play this every now and again." I might be like, "All right, fine, whatever." But it
Yeah.
depends on the situation, I guess. We'll see.
To give
But
you an idea of like how much I enjoyed MK11, like when they finally made the update to the PS5 that let you put in like a bigger hard or a secondary hard drive,
mhm.
and I finally had more space, I put MK11 back on there because I was like, it, I don't play it often, but I would like the ability to play it every so often
That's honestly
because
good.
it's
That's
very
pretty
fun.
cool. Yeah. I think that's it though. Yeah. That's been Suture Side Talk. I guess I'll if you want to write in, you can at sutresidetalk@gmail.com. Send us feedback, comments, questions on our upcoming shows. You can, uh, we're going to talk Callisto Protocol next week. So if you have questions on that or our 2022 in review episode, if you guys want to tell us your top films, TV shows, anime, games of the year, or what you're looking forward to this coming year or this current now new year of 2023 of any of those things, yeah, write us in. Let us know at sutresidetalk@gmail.com. Title of the show, it's on the image of everything. It's like all over there. And then at gmail.com. You can also follow the show on TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter at Sutro Sidetalk. TikTok ramping back up again now that the holidays are over. Goal is to do 2 to 3 posts a day. I'll see how consistent I'll be with that. I'll probably just be like weekdays, most likely. I don't know if I'll do weekends. And then you can follow James on Twitter at InvaderJim124. You can follow me on Twitter at GoGoComzilla. And if you can, subscribe on whatever platform you're listening to or watching. If it's Apple Podcasts, though, please give us that 5-star review. That would really, really help us out. Spotify, if you could rate us, and YouTube, like besides subscribing, all that kind of stuff. So upcoming, at least for Suture Side Talk, next week, Callisto Protocol. The week after, 2022 in review. We talk top 5 anime, games, movies, shows, and top 3. Looking forward to all 3 of those categories as well for 2023. And after that, we don't really know what yet, but pretty much there's a bunch of stuff. Maybe we'll do The Witcher Blood Origin. And while we're at it, we could throw that Nightmare of the Wolf animated movie that was there too. I forgot to watch. Throw that together as like another Witcher episode. We have multiple animes that just ended. We have Chainsaw Man, Spy Family's first season wrap up. Mob Psycho ended, so all those are out now. I think Rick and Morty finished too. Well, maybe that could be like a side thing we could throw in. I'm not dedicating an episode to that whatsoever. It's not as interesting as it used to be. What else, James? I feel like there's something else, but there might be smaller games that we could throw into. Gundam and One Piece Over the Horizon at a certain point. I'm like at Wano now. I'm in the 900s, so I'm getting
Oh,
there.
so you're almost there.
Yeah, I'm almost there. So there'll be plenty to talk about. But yeah, that's for side talks. We got a bunch of stuff, not to mention like all the movies and shows and games coming in. Like that's the thing. This is like a lull period right now. We could try to get as much of this done because in February there's gonna be I think it's Hogwarts Legacy. I want to say there's fucking Lightfall for Destiny.
Yeah.
We're getting, I think, in March, Ant-Man and a bunch of movies are going to start coming in like February and March. So there's going to be a lot of shit that we'll get through. Plus, new anime shows. Attack on Titan's probably coming back next month, if anything. So there's going to be plenty of stuff that we'll go through. Sutro Side Watch. Brandon and I are trying to find a meet time to figure out what we're doing with the show for this year, considering we got probably less than half of last year done. We're going
Oh
to
wow.
see. Yeah, it was a mess. Um, we're gonna see how we're gonna design it for this coming year or this current year now, but it is coming back. And then Cut of Steel. I am currently trying to get someone for. I'm talking to someone for our State of DC Comics episode, and then still figuring it out for the rest. So basically, the 3 episodes we're looking at right now is State of DC Comics, the Black Adam episode, and also the Where Are They Now DC everything DCU movies in general episode special 3-parter. Who knows? It's going to be how long, many episodes, but that'll be like the big one. And we're currently once again trying to schedule to record this week or next week for Up to It Down to It. We're going to talk about Dragon Con. So a lot of stuff happening. Getting back on the horse. We're going to see how well we'll do and how often with all these shows. But start of a new year, we'll see what we can do with it. With that said, though, I hope you guys enjoyed this shorter episode, and probably we won't have anything long like last week's Avatar one, where it was like over 2 hours. I think we'll
I
go
can't believe
back
we
to
talked about it that long.
we'll definitely go back to like hopefully an hour and a half or less. We'll try to keep it or less if we can, especially if we don't have as many like backlog things to talk about anymore either. So yeah, that's it. Until next week, guys. So long.
Thanks for listening.